that time of week once more for Muji and Dan to give you the comic store. It's time to open up those bags and boards, fans. Welcome to Get Your Pulls.
Welcome to Get Your Pulls, number 97. It's Muji.
It's Dan.
And we're back 2 weeks later, as is now the norm, it seems like.
Has been for a while, but I'm back on the podcasting horse again, so it makes it easier for me to do it when I'm motivated to podcast. Unfortunately, with all of the crappy things in life that were just getting me down, I just had no motivation to do it. And you go through that when you're doing any kind of weekly or regular thing. But
last week it was really due to lack of pulls was the main reason. Like, we were willing to podcast, but then we were like, we have a combined 4 books to talk about and no news, because of course it was being saved for this week for Comic-Con. So it was like, we could go do we could rant our way into like a 30-minute podcast, or just wait till this week.
And in the meantime, if you had just a giant podcast void in your life, which I don't know why you would, with all of the far more famous and experienced people who have podcasts than we do. But if you're here, we appreciate it. And if you need to get caught up, head on over to the Potty Humor YouTube page at youtube.com/pottyhumor and check out the new episodes of the Midnight Black Mass, back for a 5th volume, interviewing some of the top stars in wrestling today. This time we're still going to keep going with the Wild Side Chronicles, but we've gotten a couple of up and coming indie stars that have appeared on the show. We had Luke Hawx, who's been all over, and had Corey Hollis from Ring of Honor the week before, and this week we've got another young up and coming Ring of Honor guy, Caleb Conley, going to be on the show. So really excited about all the good things that are happening in our partnership with BeyondRingside.com. And the more that the Midnight Black Mass does, the more Get Your Pulls does, and it's all a wonderful cycle here for the Potty Humor Network. So good things going, and glad to be back on the horse, so to speak.
Oh yeah, and this week's a good week to be back. It is Comic-Con week. See, we're recording this Saturday night, so Saturday is really the big day of Comic-Con, so there's still a little going on. The Marvel panel is actually finishing up as we speak, but they've already done some stuff. Probably biggest thing to happen at the con so far, at least in my estimation, even though it was really short, was the DC reveal. Warner Brothers had their panel where they went over all their movies that are about to come out, including the new Hobbit movie, and then also the new Mad Max movie was at their panel, which I've actually heard from people were said that they had one big long action scene they showed from it that kind of blew people away. That was a big surprise of the con. But the big thing was, the unadvertised but not really surprising Zack Snyder appearance. But he did bring all 3 of the main people. Actually flew in. They were apparently actually shooting. They were shooting on Friday night, and they flew in Saturday to Comic-Con. And it's he brought out all 3: Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill, Gal Gadot. And the big reveal, they showed Superman, they showed Batman in the picture we'd seen before, the Batman costume. But then the big reveal, finally, was Gal Gadot in the Wonder Woman costume. And she looked awesome, too.
Amazing. That's the one, that's probably the most anticipated superhero movie costume reveal in history. Just because, people have built up Wonder Woman.
Yeah, people have waited so long to see Wonder Woman on the screen, yeah.
And it did not disappoint in my eyes.
I thought it looked great. Gal Gadot looked great. She's not, big and muscular like you would think, but she's tall.
And in some good shape.
Yeah, she's in good shape, and, and smaller people look, big on film anyways if they're just kind of cut up. And she's tall, so I thought she looked good. She's definitely, not going to win an arm wrestling contest with,
China?
Or even, what's her name, the former Wonder Woman.
Linda
Carter, yeah. She's definitely, she's a smaller, lady, but she's tall, and, on screen even, and they're going to change stuff, but on screen, I don't know what she was wearing, heels or whatnot, on the panel, but she looked actually taller than, Henry Cavill. So, she's, but she looked great. I like the costume. It fit in the universe. I know there was, I would say that, 80-90% of the reaction to Wonder Woman was pretty good, but then there was still, the small percentage that had their nitpicks. Because she's wearing women's boots, there's a heel to the back of them. They're not heels. It's not like she's wearing nothing and then heels. They're boot heels. but almost actually similar to what some women wrestlers wear when they wrestle. And so, all the people complaining that why would she fight in those? Go watch women's wrestling. People wrestle in those and they do just fine. The dudes wear 2-inch, 3-inch lifts, sometimes their boots in wrestling, and do fine. So that's an illegitimate gripe in my mind, because that's just something you can prove actually is done and doesn't inhibit somebody. And then also,
you can't please everybody,
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's just a thing that people in that industry, they develop a thick skin and they don't worry
Yeah.
about having to please everybody. You please 90%, that's a pretty good fucking ratio of people
Yeah.
to please. And let's just go ahead and say it right now. I'll go ahead and throw out I'll deep down into my mystical knowledge of the occult and look into the crystal ball and say this is going to be the most fucking money-making superhero movie there ever fucking was and possibly ever will be.
It's going to be really huge, yeah. I don't see how it won't be a giant movie. We'll see if it beats Avengers 2, because Avengers 2 now, is coming out next year, and then Batman Superman's still a year away. I mean, we still have, almost 2 years till that movie actually comes out. But, yeah, it's going to be gigantic. Everybody's going to go see it. Yeah, I don't buy into the grind. I mean, you just can't please everybody. Because, I mean, with Wonder Woman, she's wearing like a kind of half leathery looking thing. Because, I mean, she matches up with what Batman and Superman are wearing. I mean, she looks like what you do in real life. I mean, if she's wearing the tights from the 70s TV show, that would look silly in a movie with like special.
Professional cosplayer we saw at Heroes Con doing Wonder Woman looked
great.
It
looked
was
very
leathery.
similar to what this is.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
It was the newer looking Wonder Woman costume. And yeah, like I said, looked great. I mean, she was wearing close to the classic, just an updated view. She had like a little bit of like, I guess like a sash top thing like around her waist. It was kind of hanging down over her leg a little bit to where she wasn't just straight up in the undies. But that still made some people mad, and I'll once again point to wrestling where that's a legitimate thing to do your thing. MMA guys and wrestlers fight in their underwear for a living, so I don't see how that's a big deal.
No, it was very much the very like Spartan or Roman or Amazonian armor look about it, which they've used millions of times in the Wonder Woman canon. So I'm just so over the moon excited about this movie.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, and fuck the people that ever since they announced they were going to make Man of Steel have gone, DC and Warner Brothers are pieces of shit. You haven't made a Wonder Woman movie. I can't believe you guys wouldn't do this. How backwards are you? Is this the Stone Age? You're getting Wonder Woman headlining with Batman and Superman in what looks to be one of the biggest movies ever, and because her bottoms, if they were 2 inches shorter, you'd be fine with it, but you pulled out your measuring stick and decided you weren't, whatever. Just fucking don't go watch it. Like, who cares about you now? Just don't watch it. If you don't want to watch it, don't watch it, but just be quiet about it because nobody cares.
Yeah, but we'll
That's
be
how I
there
feel about
front
this
and center with the rest of the world.
Yeah, hopefully still be alive. That's 2 years, but I will be more excited for that. Guaranteed at this point, I'll be super excited for Avengers 2. That will definitely be the peak of my excitement of all time, will be for that movie when it comes out, and hopefully it doesn't disappoint. Everything we've seen so far is awesome. You got a really terrible, blurry picture, but you got really good descriptions. They apparently showed about 15 seconds of footage, but it sounded like just an insta-boner. Maybe even a wet one. You don't know. You don't know how hard that one would go when you see this. But they said, they showed a trailer. It shows Batman. It's kind of his silhouette, and his costume looks like a little different. He steps out of the shadows a bit, and he's wearing the fucking Superman armor defense
from the
Dark Knight Returns. He walks up to the fucking, turns on the bat signal. His eyes are glowing yellow like in the Dark Knight Returns because he's in this fucking robot outfit. He turns on the bat signal and fucking Superman is already fucking flying right in front of it, and his fucking eyes are red when he's ready for the heat vision. So this is obviously the point in the movie where they are gonna throw down, and I fucking just hear that, I was like, oh god, yes! So that was awesome. They didn't do the crazy thing that everybody thought they were going to announce, like the 7 or 8 movies today, and that didn't happen at their panel. Comic-Con runs till tomorrow, so it's plausible they would come back, and especially if they want to steal it from Marvel, because, Marvel went after them today, so if they wanted to come back after them and try to retake the momentum from the con maybe, but They did not announce like the big slate of movies. So even though they've claimed some slots, they just haven't announced official movies yet. Then Marvel did. Marvel, they still may, because like I said, this is still going on. There's rumors for a bunch of movies, but they came out, officially announced Guardians 2 is going to happen and the date for that, because all the reviews are just incredible for Guardians so far. I'm really pumped. That's next week. Really excited for that. And then they showed footage from Avengers Age of Ultron. This is the first footage they've shown of it. And they said it was an action sequence, and it included Iron Man in a Hulkbuster outfit. And they said that was like the big pop that happened during that. So
I've seen, some of the teaser images they put out for Age of Ultron from the promotion. Clearly, we've got the Vision in there. I mean, they've already announced his casting. With the guy doing the voice of Jarvis is cast as Avengers. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, Paul Bettany.
Or is Vision, I mean. It was a bit of a spoiler, but you kind of assumed that was where that was going anyway. So it looks like that Jarvis is going to become sentient and become the Vision.
Yeah.
And so that was really awesome. Ultron looks fucking amazing. Like, you worried, especially when
that's another silly one. You can look at it simply like Norman Osborn looked pretty silly when, in the Spider-Man movies. There's been different villains, especially in some of these movies, that don't look the way you want them to.
And like with Ultron, like what looks to be kind of a silly design in the comics, or at least not silly, but it's old. It's based off of like the day the Earth stood still and those old sci-fi movies from the 50s, and so it's it's a different type of design. They almost took it shot for shot and replicated it, but they just added some slight tweaks to just make it a little more menacing, and it just it plays so well. I can't wait to see it on screen.
Yeah, it looked great. So good movie announcements on there. There were some other movie announcements at the Image Expo. We'll get to Image in a second. I guess we can just go back real quick to DC because they had some TV stuff. They had some Gotham stuff there, and they showed an Arrow season 3. They had a big panel for Arrow. Had almost a full cast for it there, signing autographs. About half of them there the night before because of shooting as we speak. So a lot of them flew straight down from Vancouver.
I have that one queued up on YouTube now, and I haven't watched it yet.
So it was a smaller panel. Like it was missing all the girls, I believe. I think the panel was pretty small, but they showed a trailer today, and I watched it. There was a trailer for season 3, and it looks once again epic. It goes more to the backstory that we saw at the beginning of last year, where Oliver got off the island, before the 5 years, and then was forced to work for Amanda Connor, so it showed like a preview of that.
Amanda Waller,
my bad. There's too many.
The DC artist Amanda Connor was really putting him to work.
There's too many people to think
it's
of.
Like, get me Coffee Queen now.
Yeah. I was thinking of fucking Harley Quinn because of Suicide Squad, and she draws Harley Quinn. Too many people with similar names in comics. And anyways, Amanda Waller showed her, and then it showed fucking Roy dressed up in the Speedy outfit. That looked awesome. And then, it kind of, I guess, showed where the storyline's going to go, where what's-his-name is back, who showed up to not be dead last season.
Oh, Merlin, yeah.
Merlin's back, and he's apparently going to make a play for Queen Industries, so that's going to be a thing.
I wonder if he's going to be the big bad this season, or if they're going to bring in another character. I mean, they were like, he was the big bad in season 1, and then Deathstroke was just
so good in season 2. I mean, they've obviously got to lay off him for a minute. I'm sure he'll come back eventually, but
there's got to be more. I mean, they brought Count Vertigo, which is a major villain for
the comics.
For now, but in the show, he was kind of a second tier villain. I mean, Oliver had a pretty extended storyline fighting him, but
you don't know. Merlin could be back. I'm sure that in current time, the stuff with Amanda Waller is going to catch up, so he may have some problems with the Suicide Squad.
I just want to see what villains could they get, because they've had such a free reign almost, it seems.
I don't know. I know. You see, they may do something with the different tribes, because I know they cast Katana for the season. I mean, she's a babyface, but that's still another major DC character that they've cast for the new season. So, I don't know. We'll just have to see. But it showed all the action. Spoiler alert.
Is it too silly for me to hope for Solomon Grundy?
I don't think we're going to get Solomon Grundy.
Damn it.
I don't think. But you never know. Maybe in Gotham. But it looked cool, and then there's a few more little Gotham teasers, and they had a Gotham panel.
Flash.
And Jada Pinkett Smith for some reason decided to wear. She looked great. She's playing one of the main bad guys.
Fish Mooney.
Yeah, she showed up wearing just like a very summery, like almost like a bikini top and pants, and looked awesome. So just throwing that out there.
Nice. They also premiered the first episode, the pilot of The Flash, and people are through the roof about it as well.
I even saw Mark Wade, who certainly holds a DC grudge, it seems like at times, even though he tries to not, was pumped up.
Yeah, he pretty much hates on all their media, so that is a stamp of approval.
Yeah, he was pumped up for The Flash. So
people are saying like the strong points of The Flash is that it has like all the charm of Donner Superman, which if that's the case, then we're gonna get some good ass TV.
And it's once again, and Jeff Johns said it's gonna be the most like heavily influenced, like straight from the comics. I mean, probably his run, since he's executive producing and wrote Flash for years. He said it's going to be like the most like grounded like in the DC universe. Like they've already, announced who's going to play Captain Cold and like a bunch of people.
Oh yeah, they've got a bunch of rogues showing up already.
So it also looks great, and it's in the same universe as Green Arrow. So there's the possibilities there. So I mean, it's nice. It is really like they're building the separate. I think they finally officially came out and said, like they're trying to keep the TV and the movie separate. So I mean, you've got the DC universe and comics, you've got the TV, and then you've got the cartoons, and you've got the movies. So they're all their own things, and all those mediums, have their different strengths of how you can tell a story. So they're all different ways to go about it. So I'm really pumped about what they're doing, man. I mean, Marvel is doing great, and you can't argue with how good their movies are doing and stuff. But DC has fucking perfected the TV formula. It seems like, and we'll just have to see with Constantine and with all these shows that are coming out, just how they go.
And what's so funny to me is that, like, this time last year, I don't think I would have thought that comics and the whole culture could have gotten more mainstream. I thought, well, surely it's like this is it. But it's like three times more popular now.
There's going to be literally, other than Saturdays, because new shows that come on Saturday, you can use Saturday to watch your Marvel and Netflix. Every night of the week, there's going to be a new comic book TV show. And even more so, the Image panel, which they had a really long, as Image likes to do, they had an Image Expo. They had their own little thing, at Comic-Con.
I watched the Skybound panel with Kirkman. There wasn't really anything new that came out of that.
Well, he announced officially, because they'd said before that Outcast, he was working with different... he said with Outcast it was something like Thief of Thieves, which I guess the Thief of Thieves pilot just never took off, because I mean there's 20-something comics in now, there's really no news on it. He said Outcast he came up with the idea of like 3 years ago and started working on the first few issues and a story, because he is always really far ahead, like Kirkman always says in Walking Dead. He always knows what's going to happen 40 issues later. I think with Outcast he put a bunch of them in the bank and did that, and let Azucena draw a bunch, just, so, because, they don't change artists on Kirkman books, or Image books, usually in general, but they had been working with some different channels, and they officially announced Cinemax, who's been getting into, like, original programming as well. I mean, they're owned by HBO, so why wouldn't they?
Yeah, they're funneling from the same
Yeah,
people.
But that's where Outcast is going to be on Cinemax.
Damn it, man.
And it's going to be coming soon, like, probably in, like, a year, so it's probably going to be, the comics probably only going to be 12 months ahead or something, of like where it's at, which is fine because it can veer into its own different thing, just like Walking Dead. But so Kirkman's got that going as he keeps piling up the cash. And then Image, the Expo in general was cool. There wasn't like a lot of new books announced in general to Image Expo. I mean, there were a few. I guess maybe like the caliber of like person doing the books wasn't quite. It's hard to beat like the last Expo where it's like, now we have Matt Fraction and Kelly Sue, and Brubaker's going to be doing all of his books here, and we got Remender. It's like all the modern people basically announced their Image books within the last year. But Remender announced yet another, which I don't know how he's going to keep doing, because I know he's still doing his Marvel stuff. He announced another original book that's going to be at Image, so that's going to be his fourth Image title. He's got a new book coming from Image that's going to be drawn by... somebody else awesome that he's been working with. Damn it, I can't remember who it is, but it's somebody awesome. He's got a new Image book coming. Jeff Lemire announced a book that's going to be an Image. It's going to be drawn by Sean Murphy that's doing the Wake right now, so that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, Sean Murphy is one of my favorite artists that are like doing
Yeah, he's great.
indie stuff right now, or indie,
yeah.
if you can call it that. But
And even though the title makes me like laugh and think it's something I wouldn't like I'm definitely going to have to eventually pick up that Punk Rock Jesus that he drew and wrote just because if nothing
a lot
else
of
for the
image
art.
books on that pile, man. Like I was just looking at an ad for Scalped, and when I was reading the New American Vampire today, and like just thinking, my God, I really still need to badly check that out.
I'm going to get those. It's going to be a minute. They announced on one of the previews books, I don't think they're coming until January, February, but they're going to start doing the deluxe hardcovers with 12 issues a piece in it. And only 60, so it'll be 5 of those, and they'll come out like every 2 months. So I'll start getting those, and so next year we will read those fuckers, because I've been waiting on the hardcovers to collect it, so that's coming.
That's awesome. The only other thing I wanted to mention just that was really fucking awesome is that Frank Miller is coming back to do more Batman. I mean, it's like a story him and Jim Lee started years ago that they never finished. But
I've got that, the first 11 issues. It just fucking ends, and you're just like, oh, like it's still going.
So that's awesome.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean,
and just the Batman 75
panel.
the
cast on that panel was fucking just ridiculous. It's like, what, it was Frank Miller, Jenny O'Neill, Neil Adams, Jim Lee,
Scott Snyder,
Grant Morrison.
And Jeff Loeb was there, but he's a Marvel exclusive guy now, so he couldn't be on the fucking panel. But if you just added him, then you have
got the whole
fucking
thing.
The greatness of Batman.
Everyone
history.
that's alive, you could just have a fucking cutout of Bill Finger on the stage, and you're good. But yeah, that's great. And that's exciting. The Image, they got a few new books. There were a few people. I think Grant Morrison, they have something else coming out of the Image. I think there were a couple like older guys that have books coming in Image, but it was generally the same. There wasn't like a lot of new books announced. I mean, I think most of them got announced at their expo, because I mean, their expo was just a few months ago. So I think that's why they did it this way, is because they're going to start using Comic-Con as like their second little expo of the year. They did give a pretty good speech. Like, it was way douchier last time. This time it wasn't quite as douchey, their speech. Eric Stevenson in Image is like, he's doing a great job. I mean, Image is great, but when he gives speeches, he does have that like fucking like
that Paul Heyman passion.
No, like fucking like worse, like that fucking tech, like fucking everything except for what we're doing sucks. Like anytime you saw fucking Steve Jobs give a speech, and now really all the tech companies copy it. Zuckerberg at Facebook. It's just we're moving on to the future, and everyone else is doing bullshit. And just these long fucking speeches, like. They're pretty douchey, like the way that he goes about his speeches. But he had a lot of good points on it. And he did talk, Image grew, their market share grew again this year for the 3rd or 4th year in a row. Which, I mean, you can just tell by our books. I mean, you think New 52 is what got us buying weeklies. Started out, we got all DCs. They're like, we'll add some Marvels. And then finally, I was like, I'll pick up Fatale by Brubaker because I really like this cap. So I got one Image, and now I'm looking at, I got a few books on the cut list, and I'm looking at, like 3 or 4 months from now, it's like, I've got like 12 Image books and like, 6 DCs and 3 Marvels. Like, they're half my comics now, so. But they were exciting, and they had some really good Image panels, because everybody was there for Eisner's and stuff. Like, there was some great pictures taken of all-star casts of writers. I was just like, awesome. You got like a Scott Snyder with Fraction and Brian K. Vaughan, where I was like, oh, fuck, those are the dudes. And then the Eisners, which I was actually, the Eisners is one of those that they have a lot of comic awards, a lot of them aren't mainstream. It's another thing where more awards than not are people that fucking have no idea what they're doing and stuff. But for like the mainstream comic stuff, I was pretty happy with the awards. They gave Saga the Book of the Year again, I think for the 2nd year in a row. I think they won again last year at the Eisners. I believe Fiona Staples won for some sort of artist award for like, I can't remember for what, because I believe David Aja won for best covers for Hawkeye. Fiona Staples might have just won for best art. She won for something. I think it was for best like digital art, because she doesn't do pencils like on the thing. I think they separate that. But then Sex Criminals won or Fraction won for best writer for Sex Criminals and Hawkeye. So Him and Aja both got awards. BKV and Fiona Staples both got awards.
That's pretty big because usually those type of people are ignored by the Eisners.
Yeah, and then Snyder, The Wake won for Best Limited Series. So Snyder and Sean Murphy won for that. Then he accepted an award. I think Sean Murphy won for Best Pencils for The Wake as well. So Snyder, Murphy, then Fraction, and they all they won all the shit. So it was,
I mean,
the books we're buying, the books, my Image pull list, the creator-owned pull list is basically what got the awards.
I mean, Image may be douchey in ways about the points they make about how they're better than the bigger companies, and certainly there's a lot of subjectivity to that and objectivity, but as I'm coming up on about to cancel a bunch of Marvel books just because of shitty sales tactics, and we went on a giant rant on this before this even fucking was fully announced last week, so I'm not going to spend but just a couple seconds on it, but I did want to say, when Image is delivering constant quality, never fucking letting you down as a customer, giving you more than your money's worth every time, and then you have Marvel, who has billions of dollars at their disposal, but tries to eke away every fucking penny they can out of you. You really do appreciate
how much Outcast costs? $2.99, the Kirkman price. It's $2.99 a comic because he knows he's going to sell enough, he's going to make enough money. He's not pinching every little penny. It's the same. I saw the new Rimeter's new book was 4. That's the first Image book I can even remember hitting 4. But he's got a pretty badass artist doing it, so you got to pay those motherfuckers.
Yeah, I mean, I think Southern Bastards is $3.50.
The Image titles, generally, they're either $3.50 or $2.99. I think a lot of the guys who are doing Marvel books, and they're getting famous artists who are used to getting paid by Marvel or DC, but I've seen a lot of people, like in that Image video, a lot of the artists are like, just based on the fact that we're getting a percentage of the book, like we're making more money than we would to draw a book at Marvel, so what are you going to do, Here's a really funny thing, I think, though, a really funny point, because Stevenson, when he gave that thing, lambasted really everybody other than Image, and he gave it to Marvel pretty hard. I mean, he talked about a bunch of stuff. He's like, it's like the Comic-Con announcements I saw for Rumors of the Show, where to sell more books, he's like, one company is killing off a beloved children's character, which obviously Archie, which, who the fuck cares what they're doing to sell comics? Let them sell some comics. But,
they're still selling comics.
Exactly.
Good for them.
Yeah, but then he's like, another company, I can't remember what he said about DC. He said another company, is doing, is like reusing tired crossover stories. I think that's the rumor that on their month when they move from New York to California next summer, they're going to be doing some sort of a whatchamacallit that they always do at DC, what was their big 80s book?
Oh, a Crisis?
They're going to do some sort of Crisis for the month, like, instead of regular books, almost like their September events, where they're just going to do Crisis books, and there's a certain people they've hired to write them all to tie together, like it's going to be 1 month long event, I think. And then he was like, but
I mean, you gotta fucking, DC's not near, they deserve a little bit of flack for some of the shit they do sales-wise, but, Marvel is just fucking shameless.
Marvel has way more surprise. Oops, the book's $5 this week. DC, I mean, you get Secret Origins 5. I mean, it's a fucking giant book. It's 48 pages, but it. Batman, I mean, I've seen the previews. It's $4 or $5 every once in a while, but you fucking know. I mean, it's always $4 now. They raised it up, but it's $5 every once in a while. But it's always double the size.
You get extra content. If you do get an extra story in Batman, it's a backup that ties into the overall story.
It's a real story. It's not, here's fucking 24 pages of Spider-Man and then 60 pages of bullshit that you don't care to read. Oops, the book's $8. That's like the thing that, Spider-Man, they just didn't give me this week.
And DC doesn't double ship anything other than they've got weekly books that they proudly are weekly.
And they're weekly when you sign up for them, and you don't have to read them. They don't, all of a sudden, you're not like, oh, I really love this Daredevil. I'm 25 issues in. Oh, now they raise the price $1 and they're double shipping it on me. Yeah, I've gotten, upset with Marvel to the point of, there's certain books I just, a couple books I just wouldn't drop, like Daredevil, or finished out Hawkeye, but, I almost, was just willing to just wipe my hands of all their books for now, just for whatever. But
I'm, official announcement on the show, I hate to say it because it kind of makes me sound like an asshole, but if you hear me out, dropping Captain America after this next arc finishes, dropping Thor, Gonna drop Deadpool too, actually, and I hate to do that because the writers are doing a good job, but it's just Marvel. And like, if these things are good, don't think for a second I won't go pick them up and trade.
Yeah, you can always get the trade.
Happy
or even
to
if
do
it's
it.
something you've already been
Don't
getting,
hate
you can
Marvel, the
You can always
company.
probably more cheap, like go back and get the back issues if it just ends up
Yeah,
being
or I
great.
go on cheap graphic novels and
Yeah.
get fucking half price trades, and
Yeah.
I'm fucking saving myself a ton of money.
Yeah.
But it's like, and I don't know nothing against Marvel company, but you punish your single issue customer.
They do. They seem so hell-bent on, they want to go completely digital because it'll be cheaper on them. They want you to read digital. They want you to buy into these things. And also, it's like, if you don't just immediately love it, and we won't go on a bigger rant like we did last week, it's like they shame you. Because I don't even think I brought up, because since then, all the announcements, even for people I like, and I know they're just towing the company line, and I'll get to how this is funny in a second, finish up that image speech, because some are the same exact people on both panels. But, you know, you've got Jason Aaron, who we love, who did an interview with, who's a great guy, and then Rick Remender, who's, you know, your absolute favorite, probably.
Yeah, like,
And
I mean,
who's-
like, I think that
all
guy
this
speaks to me on like a
Yeah,
fucking
all
soul
this
level.
creator
You know?
stuff so good, but they've definitely, to an extent, towed the fucking company line of like, this is what we're doing, and you're an asshole. Like, it's not even. Listen, it's not even the like, you know, would you buy a book with a black Captain America, or would you buy a book with a female lead in it? Yeah, the books I have in my hand right now, I have the She-Hulk. I mean, I've got Velvet. I got 5 books this week.
Dude, Falcon has been one of my
I have
favorite
Revival.
characters.
I have 5 books this week. 3 of them have women's as the lead.
Like, it's got nothing to do with making
Yes.
Falcon Captain America. It's this gimmick. They're going to change all the characters around at once, and there's going to be a bunch of extra bullshit.
And the shaming you of the, and if you just aren't all over the moon excited that Steve Rogers and Thor are not going to be the stars of your books anymore, then you're just a fucking old man, and you fucking just don't know anything, and you fucking, you know, you're being left behind. This is the future.
Yeah, I mean, there's some real like racist and sexist assholes that have jumped
There
on
are.
this. Trust me, but like by and large, it has nothing to do with it's a woman Thor or it's a black Captain America. It's Marvel and their bullshit sales tactics
And they're
that
doing it all-
fucks the monthly customer, who's their most loyal
Yeah.
and pays the most money for their shit.
And they're
It's
doing it all at
bullshit.
once, and then they're announcing all of the books on TV, and then being like, it's not a gimmick. It's a gimmick. You announce on The View, it's a gimmick. Yeah, and it just sucks. And it's just, they're doing it all together. You know, it's like, that's their big thing. And that's another funny thing I'll get to. Eric Stevenson said, he's like, one company's idea of progressive is to gender swap and to change the ethnicity of some of their popular characters. He's like, that's what they think's progressive. He's like, it's not new. They're just wrapping it up different. He's like, there's nothing new about it. We've seen this a billion times before. You're just wrapping it up with putting a different bow on top of it. He's like, that's not new. That's not progressive. And I thought that was funny, just in the thing, especially because Remender was on the panel they did immediately after where, you know, he's writing one of those books and then...
I mean, I
writing image
understand.
books.
Hey, I've had to tow a company line before. Like,
I've got a fucking job.
Understand.
Yeah, I've got a job. I had to fucking... And yeah, I've had jobs where I fucking did not believe in the product I was selling at all.
I've been
Just
in the
had to
wrestling
fucking-
business for 15 years.
just have
I've had to tow a
yeah.
company line I didn't
You
want
just have
to.
to fucking eat.
You know.
But yeah, at the same time, it's just whatever, and it's just also, it's the fucking right of the consumer. If you don't like what they're gonna do, I always say this, and we're just practicing. If you don't like a book, don't feel like you're gonna like it, just fucking drop it. And then if later you're wrong, you can pick it back up. But if you don't like it, just get rid of it, and you should be able to drop any book you want for whatever reason. You know, and it's also one thing. Last thing I'll say on it is also on Thor, and I think it's dumb because the correcting anytime like there's going to be a new female Thor and people are like, it's not Lady Thor, it's Thor. Like, don't you dare call her Lady Thor. Like, that's like saying the N-word or something, saying Lady Thor. That's how they're treating it. And, you know, the whole thing on that is like, it's just dumb to me because like that's his name. It's not like Iron Man. It's not like Tony Stark isn't Iron Man. Now Angela's wearing the suit. Or Spider-Man isn't Spider-Man anymore. Somebody else in the suit. This is Thor Odinson's his fucking name. This is like if next month's DC was like, Dick Grayson is now Bruce Wayne. Call him Bruce Wayne. That's it. That's his fucking name. No way around it. No way around it. His name is Thor Odinson. That's his fucking name. Now you can do some sort of you can just pull a comics and be like, no, that's his title. No, his title's the God of Thunder. His name's been goddamn Thor for years, and from the mythology they pulled it from. His name's fucking Thor.
Yeah, that's another thing. We were talking about this in private conversation, but I do want to bring it. Like, people are like, well, he was a frog. And it's like, yeah. And guess what? When he was a frog, the people reading it didn't have no fucking idea he was going to become a frog. And then he became a frog, and they were like, well, I'm on board for this adventure. And then he wasn't a frog anymore, and they were with it the whole time. Why? Because they didn't have to go hold a goddamn press conference to tell you that it was going to fucking happen.
And then you didn't have to read fucking months of argument over whether it was good or not. Yeah, that's the thing, too. If you're going to do something like this, then don't fucking announce it 6 months in advance to spoil it. And also, the internet didn't exist back then. So also all the people fucking... A, get some original material, and B, don't be fucking morons to think that if the internet existed, people keep going, well, Thor was a frog and he was, something else, but being a woman, people don't want to read the book. Which, A, isn't the whole thing at all. It's the douchiness surrounding the book, but it's B, if the internet had existed back then, fuck yeah, people. If you would have announced 6 months in advance and the internet would have existed, people would have thought it was dumb.
Well, okay, and here's another thing, like not to jump on, like, oh, well, DC's better than Marvel, blah, blah, blah. Like right now, DC is doing better business for me as a consumer than Marvel. But, okay, they launched the New 52. They've done a couple things. They've tweaked the mythology. Originally, Batman's whole history was going to be included. Now it's not. I mean, there's things they've changed that they've seen work better over time with this new timeline. This Marvel Now... This will be the third fucking incarnation of Marvel Now that's coming with these new changes.
And it started after the New 52.
This Avengers Now. So it's yet another excuse to do new number ones, yet to kill the fucking lineage of the numbering system of the books. It's yet another fucking excuse to do more tie-ins and crossovers and double ship bullshit. And I'm just washing my fucking hands of it.
Yeah, it just sucks. Yeah.
So what's going to stay on my list? Like, Deadpool's going because they pissed me off with a $10 book and cut out a major fucking story that made it in digital only. And the storyline's great. Like, I'm enjoying it. We're about to talk about it. But, when it ends, I think they're rebooting Deadpool again with a new number one. So, like, I'm not even going to fucking get on board. Like, fuck it.
Yeah, that's my Marvel list, I was thinking of the other night, is likely going to eventually pop down to... Moon Knight's got one more issue with the creative team. I'm off it. That was the big Image announcement. That whole creative team is doing an Image book that was doing Moon Knight.
Fucking awesome.
Sign me up. So Ellis, Shalvey, and Belair are doing that. So I will take that. So Moon Knight's dropping just because it's over.
But giving Spider-Man around?
I didn't get Spider-Man this week because they got shorted, and I didn't... It's not really on my list. I'm getting off the wall, so I'm not sure that I am because they've been double shipping it, and there was a random $5 one. So it's another, and also like I like it okay, but it's just not.
It's not blowing you away when there's so much better.
I don't love Dan Slott. I just look at it like that's $8 a month for something that I just, as much as I love Spider-Man, like I'm not behind this book. So maybe I'll eventually, just because I have such a run, I may go back and get the back issues. Or just wait till there's a new writer on the book at a certain point, however many years from now it is.
Yeah, I've enjoyed this fight. Like, that's something I might get in trade.
Yeah.
Well, like, what?
But I'm not really...
Getting tied into their gimmicks.
I'm not really trying to, like, cut down a bunch on comics. It's just, there's so many new things coming out that I'm interested in, and I'm just got to find a room somewhere. So those are the big things, like, I think with Marvel, really, Hawkeye only has 3 more issues, and it's just going to be gone. And they're all going to be $4 a piece. They jumped the price up just in time to make the loyal fans that have waited so loyally. Got to pay an extra, got to get an extra $3 out of you before the run's over. And Fraction seems like he's done with Marvel. I mean, he doesn't have any other books announced, so we'll see. But, I mean, right now I have Spider-Man, which I don't think I'm going to be getting anymore. I have She-Hulk, which they keep changing the artists, and nothing's really happened. So I think it may get dropped simply because... Like the cover this month looks good, but like I'll just show it to you real quick. We'll be talking about it later. I hate the interior art in it. I just think that it looks terrible. Like, look at how she's drawn. Like, it just looks rushed and not good.
Like, they really take a gamble going with those expressionist type artists that are really trying to do something funky.
Well, it's a different person. This is somebody Wimberly. It's not the guy who was doing the first few comics.
But he was good. Like, this is something different. Like, I don't know what it's.
And not a lot's happening.
Well, it's like I'm gonna keep Uncanny X-Men until they hit me with another goddamn crossover because it is my lifelong book.
I feel the same with all new X-Men, but I did see previews that they're doing some sort of they're doing a X-Men. Who did I see? I saw the all new X-Men are going to go into the Ultimate Universe, and I'm done when that happens. I don't care about that. They said there's going to be a big crossover where Miles Morales and the all new X-Men hang out, and it's in the Ultimate Universe. So within all new X-Men,
Something that you'd have no familiarity with.
I've never read I've never read that, and yeah, and that's just.
Yeah, I keep getting Uncanny until it really pisses me off, and then I'm gonna keep getting Guardians of the Galaxy because it's honestly been one of the best Marvel books consistently for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like and we'll see what other books they announce because it doesn't mean I'm not gonna add anything or whatever, but there's a good chance that. And then She-Hulk is a maybe. It's on the list. Like, I haven't decided 100% on it. But there's a chance Daredevil will be my only Marvel book here in like 3 months after Hawkeye's done its run and the all-new current storyline's out. It could be down to just that. And it's mostly just due to the gimmicks of, like, this month you walk out of the month and go, like, it just adds up. You're like, I spent like an extra $12 on Marvel books this month that I didn't spend last month.
If you buy that trade paperback from Cheap Graphic Novels, you can get it for half off, okay? And you're not going to have to pay for any of the extra fucking bullshit or gimmicks or whatever.
If you wait on the paperback, it's even cheaper. You can get the hardcovers generally for $12.50 for 6 issues. So it's just at $24. So you're half price. You have a hardcover that you can keep forever. You wait for the trades are usually $20. You get those for $9.99. So for $10, 6 issues of comics as opposed to $24. So at that point, you
not to mention what you're paying if you pay cover price on single issues.
Yeah,
at $4 a pop.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you're getting half price, or even sometimes you're paying like 35% of what you would pay.
So, fuck you, Marvel. Yeah, I'm not falling for your bullshit. Like, I still like your characters, and I'm still going to support you, but not on the monthly because you don't treat us right.
Exactly. But anyways, we'll get off that. Last bit of things. A little bit of Fig news, just because DC really had a shit ton of great figs. And wrestle. We talked about wrestle a little bit on here, and I saw finally I've stayed away from wrestling figures for years, and I always said if Flair and Hogan ever got WWE contracts, maybe I'd get back in. Well, a couple months ago, they showed an awesome Flair with a robe with the NWA title. Well, they showed a WrestleMania 3 Hogan. So it's fucking Hogan, a Mattel, completely bonked out, with the fucking the pre-Winged Eagle belt that he had. It's jacked up fucking Hogan with the torn shirt. It's got the fucking cross that comes with it. He's got the headband. It's just amazing. So, wow. Yeah, that is absolutely going to get bought. And then there were a few other figs. A little lineup. There was, just for wrestling, there was a cool Razor Ramon that I think, after doing the research, figured out that maybe it was from his debut at Survivor Series. It's a defining moments figure, and that's really his defining moment probably in the WWE would probably have to be winning the WrestleMania 10 ladder match, and it's not that figure, but I think me and one of our buddies scooped out at Survivor Series. But they had a bunch. They revealed a Steam figure. They had a bunch of cool new Legends figures, some like WWE Road Warriors figures that looked pretty cool wearing the red spikes. So there's a bunch of really cool new like Legends wrestling figures, and then I can't help but Hogan's. Like, I've still got that big Hogan Unmatched Fury that I just can't sell, so I'll probably also have to get this. And now, I'm not getting back into collecting wrestling figures, but a very short list of figs I'll have to get. I gotta get that. There's a defining moment of him. There's a really cool defining moment of Razor Ramon that I don't really care for it, but it looks awesome. Even though I think I just talked about this, but his defining moment, Dan had stepped out. He's wearing trunks that seem like it's from just his debut at Survivor Series, his first pay-per-view that he had from Survivor Series, and that's not really a defining moment. I figured, like, if they were going to do his biggest thing ever, it would have to be from WrestleMania 10, but it's not that outfit. But anyways, that looked awesome, so those look great. And then they had some rumored Game of Thrones figures lineups. I can't wait to see the next set of those. Another company, Mezco, is getting into the fucking making DC Deluxe figures. And they had this like deluxe fucking Dark Knight Returns figure that has like 120 points of articulation. And he's wearing like a cloth outfit, and it just looks fucking amazing. So take my money on that. Star Wars, they're being pretty cheap on their stuff, and so I'm going to have to like go against the grain of like being like a full completionist with it, just because they're really repackaging guys really early with like pretty similar outfits. Like, they're doing an exclusive that's like the prototype of Boba Fett, where it's like all white, from where, if you've ever seen the you ever seen the art they showed those in the documentaries, like the concept art of Boba Fett, like he was wearing more of like a silvery white. They're gonna figure that. I'm like, I don't need this. That wasn't in the movie, but they're doing some pretty cool things. So they actually got different outfits, because I thought it was cheap. They put the exact same Han and Greedo figures, which are shell formers, into a playset where they're sitting there in chairs and Han's got the gun pointed at him under the table. That's cool, but it's the same exact figures that just came out. So it's like you're going to pay another $40. Or
it's like if you didn't get them the first time, like,
yeah,
that would be great. But if you did,
then yeah, you're fucked. You're getting the same exact figs. Nothing different, only they're in a mini playset thing. They did have the Boba Fett. There's a Boba Fett coming out that looks awesome, but for the Comic-Con exclusive, he comes with the little guy. What's his name? That sits with Boba Fett. Or not Boba Fett, my bad. Jabba the Hutt.
Oh,
the guy that sits with Jabba the Hutt.
Salacious Crumb.
Salacious Crumb comes with him, and it's got like a little background to where if you connect it with last year's Comic-Con exclusive of Han Solo Frozen, you can pull the curtain back and set them together. So that's pretty cool that those match up, but it's fucking... With the Figman hookup, that Jabba the Hutt's going to be $20, and the Comic-Con exclusive is like $150 basically to get Salacious Crumb, so fuck that. But they had some new playsets that were actually really exciting. They did show some figures again. There's a bunch of really good ones coming out, but they showed, there's one random one. I can't remember the guy's name, is like something Sissick or Rissick. It's one of the bounty hunters standing with Boba Fett in Empire Strikes Back. Apparently he played a part in the Clone Wars. It was pretty cool. So his name's like something Usick. But anyways, I'd never heard of him before I saw that, and then I went back and saw who he was.
I know who you're talking about, but
he's kind of a random guy to come out before like Yoda.
Is he the guy that's got like a bandage around his head and
maybe.
like a big fucking staff?
No, he's got a gun.
Because there's Bosch, who's like the lizard-looking fucking guy.
That may be his name, but it's spelled like BOSS something like EK or something weird. Or maybe I think
you're thinking of someone else, maybe.
I don't know. But anyways, he was, in the fucking original trilogy, he's in them for about a minute and a half, but he's got a fig. But the big reveals they showed this week that I was just like, God damn it. They did Hoth versions of Luke and Han Solo. They're in their gear. Fucking Luke's face is all frozen looking. He comes with a, the monster is that the Wampa or is that the Bantha?
No, the Wampa was the fucking...
What they rode.
No, the Wampa was the monster.
Yeah, he comes with the Wampa. It's a playset where it's got Luke and he's got a purple face. He comes with the Wampa. Han Solo comes with the Bantha. And they're both in their Hoth outfits.
No. The Banthas...
Or not the Bantha.
What the fuck are those things called?
He has to kill it to eat it, and he makes a fucking joke about it.
Yeah, fuck.
I can't remember. I gotta rewatch the movies because I can't remember things. People's
I know,
names.
Man, that's rough.
It's too late. It's like midnight, so it's too late. But yeah, they both come with. He comes with the fucking thing he rides out there to save Luke and cuts open to keep him warm. And then Luke comes with the monster and its frozen face. So it's badass. Those are badass little playset things that are coming out. And there's a playset coming out that's fucking. They'd shown before, but
Tauntaun.
Tauntaun. It's a Tauntaun. Yeah.
Sorry.
Like Tauntaun. But there's also another one that's coming out that's got like a speeder bike stormtrooper and another one. So their little mini playsets are cool. And because we know a guy, get them for half price, so those will be $20 a piece. So that'll definitely... Star Wars figs are great, and they come out so infrequently that they're not expensive. And then finally, DC figs real quick before we do the pulls. Some awesome DC figs. They officially revealed the third Capullo set, the designer figs, which the third one I think we might have mentioned before on here, but they showed them out, unboxed everything, and you got the Capullo. You got 0 Year Batman with the purple gloves and his outfit, which is great. A Two-Face, a fucking Jim Gordon Capullo drawn, which looks awesome, and then a Batgirl, so that was really cool. And the rumor that they were going to expand on those lines is also true. They wouldn't let people take pictures of some of the figures. I guess they're saving them for something else. There were no pics allowed. But they also have a DC designer set of Jay Lee from Superman Batman, of Batman and Superman. He did the art on that. It was awesome. Like, they look great. So they're getting designer fig treatment too. So those will have to get bought.
Very cool.
And then there's like a trench coat Joker coming out in the regular set, a new Harley Quinn with like rollerblades to match up with like the new Harley Quinn book. So DC had some really kick-ass figs as well.
Badass. Well, Comic-Con news, far from in the books. We'll probably have some more next week depending on what happens tomorrow, but right now it's time to get our pulls.
Finally so. start out with Marvel. I got
Very limited selection.
It is. I got 2 this week actually. Thought I had 1, but She-Hulk number 6. We'll see. I like the way that Charlie Soule writes She-Hulk. I don't like when they have different artists. Like I don't think the art was particularly strong this week, and the story seems to be going on at a pretty slow pace. Like so slow, in fact, that I'm just like, what is like the end game here? Like what's like the point of the book? So I mean, I still like it okay, but it's definitely on.
Am I reading She-Hulk here or Ally McBeal?
That's true. Thank you. And then definitely not on the cut list of all the Marvel books. Definitely not the one, even though they made it double shipping and raised it to $4 because they're just some greedy motherfuckers. Is Daredevil number 6, which was a really good issue, and it has a great old story in it. You see from the front, we got a really crazy cover with a bunch of nuns, and then one of them is holding a baby dressed in red. Wonder who it is. That's a good one.
Nice. I had Deadpool number 32, which allegedly another Original Sin tie-in. But
Same with this. It's
at least,
on the top.
like, they just are using it to try to put it as a gimmick. Now, I'd be pissed if I was getting the Original Sin book and thought I had to have all of these, because you clearly don't. But
it would cost you like $40 a week, and each one of them you'd be like, I have no idea what's going on here. Like, this is obviously part 3 of a 5-part story.
Yeah, this is just part of what's been going on in Deadpool. I hate to say it like this because I hate to be the bitchy guy. It's like, I couldn't write a story half as good as the Deadpool that Brian Posehn and Jerry Dugan have written by any stretch. But I get a little bit of a minor complaint with this issue. We find out, of course, that Deadpool's had a wife and a daughter, and we later find out that the daughter's alive, but she's been adopted by these people, and so this is the issue where they finally meet up, and she kind of knows that he's her biological father based on just shit she's figured out over time, and he knows she knows, but they don't really make a big of a deal of it as I expected. It just,
Right.
like for as long as they built up that moment, I wasn't feeling it, but still enjoyable issue, and like where it's been going, and we'll be on the ride until they restart it with their stupid new number 1 anyway, and at that point I'll probably say goodbye.
Yes. Well, I guess on to the creator-owned books. We got a revival, number 22. I believe this is 22 issues in already. But it's really good. We got some more crazy revival goes to New York happening.
That's been really awesome so far.
And then a bunch of really weird stuff. As we finally in the book have 2 of the revivers, M and is now dating another person that also can revive, and they know that like if they like kill themselves they eventually get back together, and they try to have some freaky sex because they know if they get hurt they're going to be okay. So it's really weird.
Always down with that.
Yeah, always a fun book. Yeah, we have some action that actually happens in New York, which is great. And then there's a pretty big reveal of like what's happening with like all of the meat from the revivers that keeps going missing, like what's actually happening with it. So that's a really crazy cool reveal.
That's cool. I just had one. It wasn't really creator owned, but when you talk about non-Marvel DC, we kind of throw them all into one category. Sons of Anarchy number 11. This has been a book that's it's really been surprisingly good for just what most would think is a cheap ploy to try to make a buck off a TV show. Most of the storylines have taken place like in between seasons, and they've been things that tied into other things that have happened on the show. So you have to be familiar with the show to understand what's going on. This issue is kind of an unprecedented thing in the series thus far, in that it starts a whole new arc of something that clearly has taken place in between seasons, but it's kind of vague as to when, and it's like this whole free-flowing extra story about, and it kind of combines the Breaking Bad and Sons of Anarchy worlds, not in the way of like the characters, but they come across this other biker gang that's heavy into meth, and you kind of get that fantasy scenario that plays out based on the biker gangs, and this whole like, it's got me super excited for the upcoming arc because it's just something they've not approached yet in the comic. And if the first issue is any indication, met with awesome results.
Yeah, I mean, that book's been, I think, surprisingly successful. I mean, it was supposed to be a mini, and then, it's gone to an ongoing because of the response. So, that's awesome. In a way, it's kind of a bummer that with just one season to go, they started trying to capitalize on some Sons of Anarchy merch. I saw some Sons figs this week, too. They're coming out. So,
oh, man.
Yeah, those are also happening, but, yeah, that's awesome that it stayed good. Yeah, which, another thing they talked about, another thing Image Disc was the continuation of old properties in comics. How it's not new, but that is actually one of the great things about comics is you can take these properties, TV shows that are over, stuff like that, and you can really have them last forever if you want to, because the actors can get old, the older writers can get old, but you could really write Sons comics until we're dead if you wanted, because you can just keep the universes going through comics, which is awesome. And then over to Velvet, which is awesome, man. The new covers, I think they said a new style. Brubaker said they're going for each issue is going to have the style of just like a mystery book, like a crime novel. It's kind of like the way they look. This one's great. It's got also, here you go, the title page. Awesome Steve Epting, a double page spread of Velvet. She's basically, the gimmick in here is she sneaks back into London. She's been on the run. She decides to come back because she thinks that's the last place that they'll look for her. And it has just a bunch of great stuff, man. This might be my favorite issue of the comic yet. It just is a book that keeps getting better, man. You can't beat some Brubaker creator-owned stuff. And he works with those people. I mean, Steve Epting's great, and Phillips is great. And then he also has Elizabeth Brettweiser does the colors on his books, and she's also a fantastic colorist. It's like her and Jordy Belair. You should just get them to color all the books. Which colorists can do a lot, so I think they both do color a shit ton of books. But
fuck yeah. Well, on to DC, I think we're going to save the Bat books for last. So let's start with The Flash, number 33. Very good issue. I'm really enjoying Vendetti's run, and he's clearly telling a long game story. Flash kind of gotten a freak of the week while trying to figure out a long-term mystery. The future Flash is still fucking up things through time. Interesting that he's gone back in history and murdered all of his villains later in their life, except for, in this case, the Trickster, who he lets go. And you gotta wonder how that's gonna play into the future as the future Flash moves closer to the present day in his mission to kill Barry Allen. In the meantime, Barry Allen is fighting a villain of his own, who's a homicide detective, who's been fucking injected with this fucking serum that makes him freak the fuck out and go into this Hulk-like state. And just lots of moving parts, and Vendetti's really hitting on all cylinders. Got Aquaman number 33. There's a new villain that Jeff Parker has introduced here that really his first big bad of the series since he's taken over, that's called the Chimera. I mean, he's done some really cool things individually, like bringing back Hercules into the DC universe. Who the fuck thought that was going to happen? All the crazy shit with Mira and the great issue where she was really featured. This time, this new villain, he's got a telepathic connection, and he can kind of cut off Aquaman's telepathic link to the other sea animals. It really puts him at a disadvantage, and he can possess humans, and it's really fucked up. So, kind of building the bricks, so to speak, for the new Aquaman pantheon here going forward. And I like it.
Yeah.
And then, do you have any other DC that's not Batman? That's it? Okay, well, hang on. We're almost there. 3 more. Then we had Secret Origins number 4. This book, at $5 a pop, you think, man, do I really want to drop another $5 on this book? And then every time it comes out, I'm always happy I did. 3 stories each time, all by their ongoing creators. And you get $5 worth of book. It's a big, thick one.
Yeah, it's a 48-pager.
And you got, this issue had a Harley Quinn origin by Palmiotti and Connor.
Nice.
You had a Green Arrow by Lemire and Sorrentino. And you had a Robin origin, which was the Damian Wayne origin by Peter Tomasi. And my name is, the name of the artist on Batman and Robin is blanking right now, but it was the regular artist for that book.
Nice.
On Damian. So, fucking, again, just magnificent. I don't need to go into any detail. You're going to read
Gleason?
it. Yes, there you go. But just fucking awesome.
Great.
Just fucking awesome, yeah. And then on to Batman Eternal 15 and 16. We've seen the first appearance of Batwoman in Batman Eternal.
Rolling along.
Keeps getting like the first story kind of wrapped up, and we didn't really get to talk about it because I put it over the last time.
Yeah.
But just if you had any brief thoughts on the first major thing with like Corrigan and how Batman kind of found out that he's.
Oh, it was great. Yeah. You found out Bard was Bard was he was like Gordon's guy, and he was. The guy that, they were building up to be like the new Gordon. Like, if Gordon's gone, it's okay. Bard will take his place. But nope. He got Corrigan out of the way, and then you find out Bard actually, like, did some dirty work to, get himself in the spot.
Yeah. That Bard is, like, the opposite extreme of the crooked cop. He's, like, he's the Michael Chiklis. He's going to bend the rules for justice to an unreasonable degree.
And, of course, Batman doesn't play that. It's just justice. It's 100% for the sake of justice. You can't fucking cheat to get it done.
Yeah, so I mean that and the whole fucking major fight with Falcone and the Penguin was
it was great. Yeah,
epic.
Great fucking Penguin comes in and it's like fuck you, and it's like I'm taking you down. I got nothing left to lose. And it was great.
So these last two issues are really focused on Harper Row and her relationship with Jason Todd.
Yeah, I mean I remember when they showed that Batman issue that was the preview for all of this that came out, a while ago, and it was supposed to, I mean, we're getting there quick. It was supposed to be somewhere in the 20s where that took place. And, being weekly, we're all the way up to 16 now, so that can't be that far away, and she was a big part of it, and she was already dressed as Bluebird, had the outfit and everything, so, I mean, we've got to get there.
Oh, we're getting there. You hadn't read 16 yet,
so it's got to be very soon.
But you will. Like, honestly, the day I say a bad thing about Batman Eternal, I'll be fucking shocked. I mean, you really got to fucking give these guys credit. I mean, you really got to give these guys credit.
They're pulling off something ridiculous. Like, this is the equivalent.
16 straight issues of 5-star comics.
Yeah, I mean, this is like the equivalent of doing like, not even like an HBO show. That's more like a regular comic where you're doing 10 or 12 episodes with a big budget. This is like the equivalent of like this season of Arrow or something where you're just going, wow, it's like 22 episodes of a show, and like I've loved like, all of them to an extent. So that's what they're doing so far. They're doing something pretty crazily good. And then I'll go to my last book, which I guess the pick of the week, Batman 33, the conclusion to Zero Year. Big finale, which I'll stay away from specifics because you haven't read it yet. It's a big double-sizer. It's fucking great. I mean, if you look at the fucking cover, it's Batman and some lions, so whatever you want to think about that. It's really good. There's lots of riddles to be solved in it. You saw last issue, it ended with, you saw what was going to happen. So this issue is, the Riddler keeps throwing riddles at Batman, and, it's obviously a big mind game. I mean, spoilers, we all know Batman's going to get out of it, obviously, because... and he's going to set things right somehow.
That's what happens in fucking stories. At the end, the fucking hero prevails unless it's a super tragic situation.
But exactly how they go about it, like what are the ramifications, like that's, something.
You're just going to get people that are bitched that was like, oh, it's so predictable. Batman won again.
Well, you thought Batman was going to fucking, like, die, and then, you have the current continuity where he's fine. This is a few years ago.
It's like there's an old wrestling analogy, but I'll put it out here. I don't expect the Penguin to come on the fucking page, take a giant shit in the middle of the fucking panel, and that shit to become sentient and turn into Clayface and fucking be a shit-formed Clayface that murders Batman. I don't expect that to happen.
But that doesn't mean it would be good.
Nope.
Sometimes what you expect to happen is what is supposed to happen. That is the best thing to happen, but... Yeah, fucking Capullo just kills in the art in this last issue, like as you imagine that he would. You get it done. You get a month after the end of the storyline, which kind of sets in the current continuity where you see where Lucius Fox has been put in charge of Wayne Enterprises, and I mean, half spoilers. I mean, just stuff that is going to eventually happen anyways. But it's really like how they get there is like the really great part of the book, and the riddles and the mind games between Batman and him, and the other, like, small characters, like, what part they play and how it works out. And I'm really excited, man. Excited to know the next two issues are Capullo. I believe, Capullo's off next month, and it's somebody badass drawing it. I think it's, who's, like, the main artist on Thor?
Assad Ribic?
I believe Assad Ribic may be doing one of them. Maybe it's Jerome Opeña. It's one of the like Remender used guys is doing, I believe, the next arc, which is I think it's 1 or 2 issues. I think he said there's like a 2-issue story that's coming up that really the 2 issues go together, but they're kind of single stories. And then he's starting another story after that in 3 months that takes place right after Eternal ends. So he's jumping Batman a little further than Eternal in the continuity to where we're going to get to see, like, what happened after Eternal, like what the new status quo is. Which, in a way, it's like, kind of spoilers, but another way, which I really feel, because I really haven't felt like, in Eternal, eventually Catwoman's going to, become some sort of, like, crime boss, and, and that Harper Row is going to become the Bluebird and all that, but I don't really feel like it spoiled it. Like, reading the comic, it's like, it's been interesting, like, you're wondering, like, how is this going to piece to that, how we're going to get to that.
In Pulp Fiction, you didn't think it was a spoiler
no.
when they showed what was going to happen.
Yeah, they went back in time and showed other stuff.
Like, it's just all in how you tell the story.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like they've done that with Batman. I feel it'll be the same way here. Like, they're going to show you kind of, what's going to happen after Eternal, but he said it's not going to, like, spoil the last issue of it. It's just going to show you where everyone's out when it's over, so you'll be like, oh shit, how did they get here? But he said the next one's not going to be as long. I mean, it's going to be like a 5 or 6 issue story. It's not going to be like 0 year. It'll end up being, 13.
The 3 graphic novels.
Yeah, exactly. But real excited for that because I believe the Joker's coming back. Because if I put 2 and 2 together, he said he's bringing Joker back, and he said that this time it's going to be the Joker's not going to be like, having fun with Batman. Like, he's going to be mad. Like, whereas before he was like, almost like a lover, like I can't hurt you because you're my whatever. This is like the scorn lover, like, how dare you, moved on to somebody else, how dare you. That's how Joker's going to be acting in the next one, so really pumped up for that. We'll never drop Batman as long as fucking Scott, probably never as long as I get comics, but never as long as Scott Snyder and Capullo are doing it. They can fucking charge, I'm not going to say anything because I don't want them to charge $5 because I would pay $5. I don't want it out there that I would.
I mean, like, and like Batman and Robin, which we're severely behind on, just critically loved.
It's great, yeah.
But there's a really great time to be a Batman fan. There might not have been a better time since the fucking Frank Miller shit dropped in the 80s to have been a Batman fan, to be quite honest.
Yeah, there's so much good Batman. Detective, Manipal, and Buccellato is so great. Batman's great, Batman and Robin's great, and you've got the excitement for other characters where Batgirl, it's like, she's going to be reinvigorated. People are pumped for that. People are pumped for Gotham Academy. People are pumped for Arkham Manor. I mean, there's just, the Bat universe is really kicking ass. And there's a new Batman editor, too. Snyder said something about that, about how, the last editor was good and was whatever, but the new one, he said, really challenged them to, like, change things up. And now it's, like, causing, like, everyone to, like, step them up even more. So, yeah. But, really pumped. Next week, I'm getting blasted with pulls. Next week, I think I added up that I'm going to have to spend like $40 at the comic book store.
Damn it. Let me look real quick.
And it's mostly a bunch of Image books in DC. There's a Detective Comics annual next week. So pump for that. There's a Justice League and Harley Quinn book. So both of those are coming out.
We got an Aquaman annual. We got Batman Eternal, of course. Smallville Season 11 special.
Yeah, the Action Comics and Superman Wonder Woman annual both got pushed back, so they're not out this week as they've been originally announced.
I have no Image next week.
I got a ton of Image next week. I have Outcast, I have the Fatale Finale, which is $5. It was a double page, and I'll be happy. I wish it was $10, and it meant that there were fucking 120 pages in it, because I'm sad it's ending. I got Fatale Finale, I got Outcast, I believe I have Nailbiter, I've got something else from Image, Black Science. I got a lot of Image books next week.
Oh, I have the Marvel In Good Graces crew is all next week. I have Uncanny X-Men, Guardians of the Galaxy, and a book that I forgot about that is probably going to be ending because they don't have any future solicits for it after so long, like other shit that is coming out. It's Uncanny Avengers, which has been fucking amazing. I forgot to mention that, and that's definitely staying until it ends, because there's a Remender book and it's like own kind of sequel to Uncanny X-Force. It's probably just going to end, and then that'll be fine. I'll be with that till the bitter end, but that's what I got.
Yeah, if you're like me next week, then you may need to go to the bank and get a small loan so that you can get your books.